I bet you wonder what you're going to be this year. Because every Halloween you come in, you get to be something new again.
All right, time to get to Goodwill and start building my Halloween costume. Let's see, I love baseball and horror movies. If I could just...
Do the mash. Do the costume mash.
Yeah, I'll mash them together and be Field of Screams.
The costume mash.
Amazing.
Visit AmazingGoodwill.com for costume ideas and store locations.
The Idea Exchange is on AM 1430 WBEV. You're tuned into your source for delicious recipes, helpful household hints, and clever tips that you can use every day. Call the show and offer up your own ideas. 920-885-4446. That's 920-885-4446. It's the Idea Exchange on AM 1430 WBEV. Here's your host, Brenda Murphy.
And good morning. It is Thursday, October 25th, and we are doing the local. Since we did our last local dish program, that means that if you're listening on AM 1430 WBEV, you can tune in and watch us today at dailydodge.com. Just click on the video button and you'll be able to see us streaming live, or later on, if you can't watch the whole entire program, you can go back and click on the video tab. Give us an hour or two after the program so that we can get it uploaded and into the system. But we have a great show for you today. Bill Leisses will be here between 10 and 11 o'clock, and he's going to cook up some fall specialties for you. We're going to talk about squash, the different kinds that are available right now, the ways to prep them and prepare them. He's also going to be making a pork tenderloin, and I love pork tenderloin. I have a couple of favorite recipes that I always like to use, but he's going to show us how to cut it and trim it and prep it, and that's a great tips for you there. So make sure that you stay and watch the entire program. Again, AM 1430 WBEV, you can be listening to us, but if you want to watch the program, just go to dailydodge.com and click on the video tab. So we welcome you back today. Bill will be in at 10 o'clock, as I said. I am going to be giving you some holiday gift ideas with all the books that I read. I'm going to be showcasing some of my favorites from this year and previous years as well. But first I want to get to the bizarre holidays for today, because at the beginning of my show every day I like to highlight those. Today is International. Listening to WBEV early this morning on the Farmer's Almanac program. You might have heard the announcer talk about adult coloring books, and a lot of people really like them. A lot of people say they're silly and foolish, but they do help to relieve stress. And at the end of this little program segment, the announcer said that then you always have something that you can post on your refrigerator if you don't have children or grandchildren to do that for you. It is also World Pasta Day today. There are about 350 different types of pastas, but about 4 times that amount because of the different names. Oftentimes there's the pasta name, but then there's also a shape name that coincides with that. And you might be wondering, does shape affect taste? No, it does not. The only difference is if you're cooking with a thicker pasta and you don't get it done correctly, then that might change the taste and the texture if it's not cooked properly. And while Italy counted 250 to 260 different types of pasta shapes at the end of the 1800s, the number of traditional pasta shapes now has been reduced to about 55 or 60. And when I was in Rome last year, I have to tell you that the Italian pasta, homemade, there's nothing that can beat that. It was just incredible. If you go to our webpage, dailydodge.com, and then click on the recipe tab, you will find today's featured recipe. You might want to check that out. You might be thinking about the changing seasons, football, and maybe you've got some holiday sewing projects coming up. Daniel at Ultimate Sewing Machine Repair is here to provide top quality service on your current sewing machine or he can present an opportunity to have your creativity take flight with a new Sparrow machine by Eversone. So kick off the season by scheduling the maintenance now, or ask about the many Eversone Sparrow models for sale. Eliminate the possibility of downtime and tension. Daniel at Ultimate Sewing Machine Repair will keep you in stitches. So give him a call, 920-928-AULT. That's 928-2858, a Fox Lake number. And it might be your anniversary. And so for years you've been promising your wife that someday you'd adorn her in rubies and garnets, but if it's taking another man to actually do that. What will he do to your marriage? Well, he'll stir her emotions and reignite the passion. In fact, he'll be able to express love for your wife in a way that you can't. He's your florist, and he's right down the street at Jean's Beaver Floral. He'll create the most beautiful bouquet or ruby roses and garnet-colored lilies. They'll take your wife's breath away. She'll say that you can be quite romantic. Thanks to your florist, at least you won't be a hopeless one. Call Jean's Beaver Floral at 885-3365 and let them create something unique for your next anniversary or special occasion. Jean's Beaver Floral, expert in the art. Beaver Floral, located at 125 North Spring Street, and the floral department at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly, voted Beaver Dam's #1 florist year after year. You can visit their website, jeansbeaverfloral.com. And if you're going to be heading out today, you can stop in at Walker's Family Restaurant. They always offer a soup and sandwich special each day. You can stop in for one of their great tasting salads or wraps, one of their featured entrees or house specialties. You can always get breakfast anytime, day or night, at Walker's, or maybe you just want to stop in for one of their delicious desserts. You see that bakery case when you first come in. You can select from one of their jumbo muffins, cinnamon rolls, or you can stop in for a slice of pie and a cup of coffee. So make it a point to stop at Walker's. We need to take a break, but when I come back, I'll be sharing some holiday gift-giving ideas for you.
In the race for state assembly, being a black belt in karate might come in handy for candidate John Plummer. John Plummer wants to take his karate skills to Madison to defend us from career politicians. As our state representative, he'll work to slash healthcare costs, defend people with pre-existing conditions, and keep taxes low on families and seniors. They could use a good chop. On November 6th, vote for a guy who will protect us from career politicians and their bad ideas. Vote John Plummer for state assembly.
Paid for by Plummer for Assembly.
How does Social Security and Medicare work?
When is it best for you to receive these benefits?
How does this affect you if you want to keep working?
Hi, this is Sandy
and Emily
from Higher Insurance and Estate Planning.
We're hosting events and help you decide what's best for your future.
To attend this free course, call us at Higher Insurance and Estate Planning at 887-0580. That's 887-0580.
No one works harder to help you achieve your goals. We know how challenging and rewarding farming and this way of life can be.
You won't find financial experts with more ag knowledge and deeper rural roots. We grew up here, and many of us are farm kids through and through. So whether you have 1 acre or 1,000.
Whether you're building a house or a legacy.
Your friends, family, and neighbors at Compeer Financial have your back.
And we're ready to champion rural together. Learn more at Compeer.com. Compeer Financial, equal credit opportunity lender.
I'm Glenn Grothman, and I won't take a dime from pharmaceutical companies. That's because here in America, we consume 80% of the world's painkillers with only 6% of the world's population. I introduced legislation restricting the amount of pills per prescription and created a new anti-opioid task force in Congress. American medical costs are way too high, and one more grieving Wisconsin family is one too many. That's why I fight for you rather than the drug companies. I'm Glenn Grothman, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Glenn Grothman for Congress.
So much to see. McKinstry's Home Furnishings. So much to save. McKinstry's Home Furnishings.
During election season, the candidates talk about lowering your taxes, but McKinstry's Home Furnishings is paying your tax for you, announcing their huge tax-free sale going on now. For a very limited time, now through Monday, McKinstry's will pay the sale big on all their name brand furnishings, including Simmons, Lazy Boy, England, Riverside, Marshfield, Symbol mattresses, and much more. And the best part is, McKinstry's Home Furnishings will pay the sales tax on your purchase. That means the more you buy, the more you save. Delivery is free, financing is free, and tax is free. Don't miss the tax-free sale going on now at McKinstry's Home Furnishings, downtown Beaver Dam.
Year after year, McKinstry's.
Welcome back to the local dish, the Idea Exchange. And if you hear Christmas music and think, whoa, wait, it's way too early for Christmas music, did you realize it's October 25th? That means it's 60 days until Christmas Day, which means it's only 8 weeks, which means it's only 2 months, however you want to look at it. So I thought today I would take the time to share some of my favorite books with you. As you know, I do a number of different author interviews throughout the year in my Book Nook segment, and that's one of the things that I really love about doing the Idea Exchange, is that I can bring you so many different genres of books. And so I'm hoping that some of these might give you some ideas for those that are on your holiday gift giving list. There are lots of ways that books can introduce you to all different kinds of parts of the world. They can educate, they can entertain, and it's great to give a book as a gift. Ask my family, they get a book from me every single year that are great to kind of highlight one of their hobbies or maybe just introduce them to something new. And then you can also personalize them by writing just a little note inside the cover or the flap of one of those books, and dating it is always fun as well. My mom used to do that for us when we would get a book for Christmas. In the days when I was younger, they would be signed by Santa. In fact, I think I have a book here that is signed by Santa, which I will show you a little bit later on. And then sometimes if they were a gift from her, she would personalize them that way as well. So with my contact with so many different authors, I wanted to tell you about my favorites so far this year in 2018, both with children, adults, and then I have some holiday ideas for you as well. We're going to get started with the children first. This book is called She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. If you grew up in the time the Beatles invaded America and were really, really hot and popular, you'll love to read this book yourself. But it is geared for young adults. It's One Girl, One Band, and the Concert That Changed the World. The year is 1966, while the Vietnam War is raging, the Beatles have catapulted into the United States and stardom. And the protagonist of the book is Trudy Mixer. She's fallen in love with the Beatles and especially with handsome Paul. And I remember my sisters and friends, we used to fight over who was going to be which Beatles girlfriend, and so we'd have to draw names, and everybody always wanted Paul to be their boyfriend. Loves You, Yeah, 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 about her own love of the all things Beatle. And as I mentioned, although this is geared towards preteens, it would be a great read for anyone who grew up during the Beatles era. She sprinkles the story with lots of great facts about the Beatles, and this would be great to share with your children or with your grandchildren, and then sharing your stories about the Beatles with them. Each of the chapters in the book is a Beatles song title, so that's extra fun as well. Just last week, I talked with Rachel Renee Russell. She has written many, many dork diaries. She was a lawyer, and then she started writing when her girls were in middle school. Now they're grown up, and they help her write and illustrate dork diaries. This is number 13, and she's been on the New York Times bestseller list for, I think Dork Diaries has been on there for over 300 weeks. She's sold 38 million copies, and she's written these books in 40 different languages. Every one of us can relate back to our dorky days, but Rachel Renee Russell has made being a dork pretty popular. And although the things that Nikki and her best friends go through, everybody can kind of relate to their kind of universal feelings and thoughts, there's always hope and there's always fun between the pages. So Dork Diaries is another great one for preteens. This book, Worry Bee, I love to showcase local author up in the area, and she's teammate Sherry Sackett's stepsister. Her name is Ann Bees, and she is the author of this wonderful children's book, Worry Bee. It's written as a practical tool for children who experience fear or are overwhelmed by their feelings. Ann practices yoga, and she works with children and teens to help them with yoga and to help them get over their fears and their worries. And she always used to tell the story of the Worry Bee to her young people who were in her classes and attending her sessions, and she decided that it would be a great story to publish as well. It covers all kinds of fears and worries in the book, and she also offers a breathing exercise, be in my center, be in my heart, be in my breath, and I have a fresh start. So a great book and with local ties. That is called Worry Bee. Then about maybe a month or so ago, you can take this culinary tour of history in Food Fight, a mouth-watering history of the who, what, and why through the ages. I love showcasing all Nat Geo Kids books because they are so colorful. There are many photos, there's graphics, sidebars, trivia questions, and this book has 15 chapters, starting with the prehistoric era and going through the future world. Food Fight includes yucky habits of yore, table manners, quizzes, and even not only perfect for foodies, but it's also great for future chefs and history buffs of all ages. So that is Food Fight. And then just a couple of previous books. This one I did not interview the author, but it is one of my very favorites, and I love to give it to new parents. It was first published in 1987 when my youngest was 1 year old. I found the book when my children were 10, 7, and 4, and it's become a real favorite in our house. In fact, we sign all of our letters and cards and correspondence with Love You Forever. The theme that goes throughout the book is, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as you're living, my baby you'll be. And it's about a little baby who goes through childhood and then becomes a man and has a baby of his own. And this book, I Love You Forever, by Robert Munch, again, would make a great gift idea. We need to, one more book about children, and then we'll take a break. If you want to give your children or grandchildren or even family a musical gift for this holiday season, check out this book and collection by Sandra Boynton, a well-known children's author and illustrator. There are great musicians, Brad Paisley, Ryan Adam, Darius Rucker, Alison Krauss, to name a few, in her Frog Trouble and 11 other pretty serious songs. The books are a little bit Western, a little bit rock and roll, a little bit folk music, and the book not only features the words to the song, but it also has sheet music for beginners learning how to play the guitar, pictures and bios about each of the artists who participate in this book. And it also comes with a CD. The songs are incredibly fun to listen to, so I highly recommend this. She also has a book called Hog Wild as well that's on a similar theme. We need to take a break. We'll be back after this.
WS Ag Center in Columbus invites you to their Fall Festival Friday, October 26th. Live radio broadcast Friday morning, October 26th from 7 to 9 a.m. Lots of in-store specials all day long. Great bargains on all bird seed. Get up to $2 off bags of pet food. Visit with all the vendors that are displaying. WS Ag Center is located on Temkin Road next to the vet clinic just outside Columbus. Remember the date of the Fall Festival, Friday, October 26th. WS Ag is your Kent feed dealer, and it's the place to stock up on your dog and cat food needs, bird seed, and of course hog feeds. Come one, come all to the Fall Festival Friday, October 26th. It runs all day from 9 till 4. Join us for the live radio broadcast Friday morning from 7 till 9. You can even start your Christmas shopping with great bargains on lots of different items, including birdhouses, wind chimes, and so much more. WSAG in Columbus, the place to be, Friday, October 26th from 9 a.m. till 4.
I'm here with Bev Anderson from Anderson Real Estate, and it's time to ask Bev. We've got questions about real estate, and she has the answers.
What should you do to spotlight your home? You want to highlight your home in the best possible light to attract buyers. Close-ups of shower curtains, toilets, well cared for. Make sure the yard is appealing, the lawn is mown, plants look healthy. These will help the home look inviting from the outside. Spruce up before pictures and before showings. Get into a daily routine of once around the house, either before going to bed or before leaving in the morning. This will help keep your home in tip-top shape for showings.
This has been Ask Bev, brought to you by Anderson Real Estate. If you have a real estate question you'd like to ask Bev, give her a call at 920-887-2434. That's 887-2434.
I'm an addict. If football's on TV, I'm watching. And when I'm watching, there's only two things that will get me out of my recliner. And one of those is a trip to the buffet table. Ours always includes grilled brats and hot dogs on Village Hearth buns. At halftime, we bring out a huge platter of cold cut sandwiches made on Country Hearth multigrain bread. Baked right here in the Midwest, Country Hearth and Village Hearth breads and buns are always fresh and delicious.
Touchdown! Yes! Yes! Columbus Community Hospital, well into the future. Need a hip replacement? The average stay of Columbus Community Hospital is 1.8 days. Columbus Community Hospital, building a caring relationship, one patient at a time.
Check out the Dodge County's Most Wanted page at dailydodge.com. Brought to you by QBS Law.
And welcome back to Daily Dodge. We are broadcasting the local idea exchange, and I am showcasing some of my favorite books that I have done interviews with this past year, and also giving you some Christmas gift ideas. I showed you some of my favorite children's books. Now we're going to move into adult books. I have to say my number one favorite so far this year was Marcel's Letters. A graphic designer found a cache of old letters in an antique store in Stillwater, Minnesota. And she fell in love with the expressive handwriting style, as I did when this first came across my desk. The letters were written in French and signed by a man named Marcel, who had mailed them from Berlin to France during the middle of World War II. The author, Carolyn Porter, became almost obsessed with trying to find out what happened to Marcel. Did he survive the war? What about his family? And she goes on a quest to find those answers. Marcel's Letters, A Font and the Search for One Man's Fate, gives us a different perspective of World War II and also tells the story of Carolyn's quest to get her font published. I was captivated by the font when the packet came across my desk, and the incredible story captured my heart. It's very well written, and it's the story of hope and tenacity, both Marcel's and that of Carolyn's quest. And both stories are woven together just beautifully in this book, with the added bonus of 17 translated, never before published letters that were mailed from a German labor camp, or is interested in graphic arts and design. That's called Marcel's Letters. Then probably my next favorite book I did about a month or so ago. So much of gardening is all about monthly checklists and season to-do lists, and I'm not really a very good gardener, so I wasn't sure what this book was going to even be about. But author Tova Martin is a passionate organic gardener, and she's published many books. The Garden in Every Sense and Season is unique in that it takes the reader through each of the 4 seasons using all of our senses. In spring, she reminds us to look for the daffodils and the smell of lilacs, and the earth. You can smell the earth. It's different in spring than it is in fall. And to hear the April showers on the roof. In summertime, she says summer should be as noisy as possible, and her favorite herb is basil. She also tells us to watch the butterflies, whoops, my little notes there, and enjoy the daisies. In autumn, we seem to use all of our senses at once. I think that's why I love autumn best. There's the burst of color from the trees and the smell of wood smoke and burning leaves and the tastes of cinnamon and apples and pumpkin and nutmeg. And in winter, everything goes dormant. And however, winter sparkles. It smells like ice. And there is a silence to the season. The reason I love this book is that you don't have to be a gardener to enjoy it. I realize that I don't always take the time to appreciate the gifts of nature that surround just photographs, and invites you to sniff, taste, see, touch, and enjoy. So that is another one of my recommends. If you've ever lived by the lake or gone to a lake for a vacation or just dream of someday owning lake property, life by the lake is so inviting and nourishing to one's soul. So says Anne Goodwin, the author of this book, Come to the Lake. She's enjoyed her 1920s cottage on Wisconsin Lake for many, many years. And so if you've loved time spending on the lake, you're going to love this book because it's filled with all kinds of thoughts and essays and even great recipes. Bright as Heaven is a great book if you want to learn a little bit about history. It tells the time of the Spanish flu epidemic, and it tells about a family who own a funeral parlor during that time, and it just gives you an in-depth look. There's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of death in the book, but it also is kind of buoyed up by hope. And Freezer Meals is a great book. If you want to cook ahead, you don't always have time to put a meal on the table. This book gives you lots of great recipes, plus it gives you a single batch up to 5 batches, so you know exactly how many ingredients you need and how to package it up, how to freeze it, what works well and what doesn't. Then a couple of other books that I'd like to share with you that are my favorites that I didn't do this year. An Invisible Thread, captured and the author. A year later, the book was released, and when it came out in paperback form, I was able to secure an interview. The simple lunch that Laura and Maurice shared became the foundation for a weekly ritual and a life-changing friendship and shared experiences. And I remember reading the last 2 chapters of this book late at night, the night before the interview. Tears were streaming down my cheeks, and the box of Kleenex was right next to my bed. It's very emotional, but it just goes to show how one small random act of kindness can really lead to great things. So highly recommend that for yourself, or again, just as a gift. And I know we're running out of time, so I'm not going to get to my holiday ones, but maybe we can save that for the end of the show or another time. This book, I interviewed the author last year. I have to tell you that The Pokey Little Puppy from Little Golden Books was my favorite growing up. It's also one of the 12 original, and it was their #1 seller. Golden Books were published by Western Publishing, which is in Racine, and this just tells the whole history of Racine Publishing, how Little Golden Books became so popular, and it has all of the artists and illustrators. We need to head to ABC News. When we come back, we'll be back with Bill Leisses.
This is WBEV. Beaver Dam, take advantage of the Countryside Ford Quick Lane Works package, oil change, tire rotation, pre-inspection, $39.95, no appointment necessary. Here's ABC News.
Are sent for analysis to the FBI lab, where they're exploited for clues about the sender.
As investigators look into suspicious packages delivered to places at the hands of the president is absolutely ridiculous.
There's a big difference between comments made and actions taken. The president is certainly not responsible for sending suspicious packages.
The president has tweeted since the pipe bomb discovery, posting, "A very big part of the anger we see today in our society is caused by the purposely false and inaccurate reporting of the mainstream media that I refer to as fake news." Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, the White House.
Police in Barstow, Florida are now accusing 2 girls of planning to kill others.
Police say 2 girls, just 11 and 12 years old, brought knives to school and were just moments away from carrying out a plot to attack and kill their middle school classmates Tuesday. According to police, the girls were discovered together in a bathroom after first period, allegedly planning to overpower and stab other students who came inside.
ABC's Victor Okendo. Prosecutors in Saudi Arabia now say the killing of reporter Jamal Khashoggi at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul was premeditated. The Dow is now up 287 points after losing over 600 points yesterday. You're listening to ABC News.
What will you wear this Halloween? Try this spooky statistic on for size. 56% of people plan to dress up this year, according to the Goodwill Halloween poll. And thrift stores are the #1 place to find materials for do-it-yourself costumes. The top costume choice? 40% say a character from pop culture, movies, TV, or a book. 29% are going for a traditional look, like a witch or ghost. And Pinterest is the top social media site for costume inspiration. More on Halloween thrifting from Melanie Wilkes, spokesperson from Goodwill Industries International.
Pieces at affordable prices to create costumes. Maybe a long black dress and a broom for a witch costume, or a flannel shirt for a scarecrow, or that puffy shirt for a pirate. And remember, Goodwill is all about reuse and recycling, so you're also helping save the planet.
More ideas for thrifting your costume at goodwill.org, and share your creations with the hashtag GoodwillHalloween.
A scuffle at a college football game is now going to cost a school thousands.
Michigan State players started their pregame warm-up by locking arms and walking across the field, making contact with several Michigan players and staff. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh called it an orchestrated stormtrooper march.
You know, to call that unsportsmanlike or to call that Bush League is putting it mildly.
Michigan's Devin Bush then used his cleats to scrape the Michigan State logo at midfield. MSU has been fined $10,000 by the Big Ten. Their head coach Mark D'Antonio, as well as Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh and player Devin Bush, have all been reprimanded by the league. Ryan Burrow, ABC News.
Ford is recalling nearly 1.5 million vehicles. The company says a value in the fuel system could get stuck and could stall the car out. The recall affects Ford Focus cars from 2012 to 2018. Well, it's a secret worth over $1 billion. The winner of this week's Mega Millions jackpot. The ticket was sold in Simpsonville, South Carolina. ABC's Steve Osunsami is there. He says some people think they know who it is.
This is a small town, and many people we talk with say they know who this family is, but are trying to protect them because there are various serious safety concerns here about revealing their identity. This is one of a few states where the winner doesn't have to publicly.
It has grown to $750 million. This is ABC News.
It's time to join the millions of people using Zoom video conferencing. Turn any size conference room, huddle room, or executive office into a Zoom room with flawless HD video, crystal clear audio, and instant wireless sharing. It'll even work with your existing hardware. Start your meetings with a single touch or use Zoom's new voice command feature. Hey Zoom, start meeting. Huddle happy. Visit Zoom.us to set up your free Zoom room trial today. That's Zoom.us. Zoom video conferencing.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
And for the latest local news online all the time for free, log on to the new dailydodge.com where we stream live. Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And welcome back to the Local Dish. We are featuring in this next hour Bill Leisses from Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly. And he is going to be cooking a pork tenderloin with apples, bacon, and squash and wilted kale. So we're going to be talking about all the finer points of that. But welcome back, Bill.
Hi, Brenda.
It's nice to have you back here again. As I said earlier, it's been like 6 weeks since we did that. But we kind of have to work your schedule, my schedule, and even dates on the calendar around when we will do these shows. Normally, they are scheduled for the fourth Thursday of the month. But coming up next month, we've got Thanksgiving on the fourth Thursday of the month. So we're going to be doing the show a week ahead of time, that Thursday before Thanksgiving, and we'll have some Thanksgiving ideas then, right?
Yes. Working. I did take a trip to Atlanta.
Okay.
Kind of in and out, 3-4 days. Drove there, drove back, helping my brother move.
Helping your brother move to
Yes.
Wisconsin, I
Back
think
to
you said.
Wisconsin.
They're
Yes.
coming back to Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yes. So,
So it was fun. It was hot.
oh, nice and warm, so
It
you
was
enjoyed.
91 the first day there.
Oh.
A little humid,
Uh-huh.
but it was nice.
And do you have any big holiday plans? Do you always do the cooking for Thanksgiving and Christmas, or what?
Not really.
Not really? You let somebody else do that then, right?
I do some, or I help, or I butt my nose in.
Offer suggestions or
yes.
advice when needed, right? Well, today we're going to be doing pork tenderloin. It's one of my favorites. I have a marinade that I got from my sister many years ago that I like to do in making pork tenderloin, but I never really know how to trim it properly, how to cut it properly, and so you're going to share that with us.
Show you that.
And because this time of year at the grocery stores, maybe in your own garden, you've grown lots of different squash. We're going to talk about the different kinds of squash and how you can prep them, different ways that you can cook them, and even how to store them, because if you have some, I think you said you have one squash here that you have had quite since last.
We found that we found it in we have like a little closet that's cool.
Uh-huh.
We went out and bought some other squash, and my wife said, "Oh, we have this from last year," and it was still good. It was butternut.
Okay, so squash, best way to keep that, and how to preserve it so that you can still use it many months after it has been picked from the garden. So where do we start today, Bill?
I'm going to start with the cleaning of the pork tenderloin, because I'll have to get that cooking first.
Okay.
And talk a little bit about that. If I can find I had some gloves here. I'm going to put some gloves on quick. So I like the pork tenderloin. It's lean. It's tender, obviously. But I do, like with a pork tenderloin and almost like with a beef tenderloin, there's not a lot of fat to it. So you want to flavor it. Like you said, you marinated yours, which is a good thing to do to impart some flavor in it, because it doesn't have a lot of fat and necessarily a lot of flavor like some other pork cuts, like say a bone-in pork chop or something like that. So I don't know if you can see me here. So you usually get these in 2-packs in the grocery store at the Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly, and they're it's affordable cut of meat too, very affordable. So I'm going to take this, and there's what they call the silver skin on here. And
I was going to say sometimes it even is more silver looking than what you have there right now.
Sometimes
right?
this one's cleaned up pretty well. There's some silver skin on it, so I'm gonna put my knife under there. And you want a nice sharp knife. A knife similar to this is it right under that silver skin. Just kind of come back.
And do you want to get off as much as possible? You want to try to get it really clean?
You want to get this silver skin off. And I mean, you don't want to go too deep, because you
don't want to lose the meat. Right. But as long as your knife is really sharp, you should be able to just...
Oh yeah, it comes off pretty easily. And then sometimes you have some fat here, so if you just kind of scrape it with your knife, you can clean that up a little bit. Take that out.
And then, like what you purchased to bring today, how much do you figure per, like if you're looking at 2 pounds or 4 pounds or whatever, what's the ratio per person? How do you know how much pork tenderloin to buy?
You know, 4 to 6 ounces.
Per person?
Per person.
Okay.
You know, lunch, maybe 4 ounces, dinner, 6 ounces.
Okay.
About 6 ounces per person.
And
I'd
then
say this would feed 2 people. I mean, that'd be a little over 6 ounces. This is probably about a pound. I don't know what I got here. I think this is, yeah, these are both of these are a little over 2 pounds.
Okay.
So.
And of course, I don't know, not everybody likes leftovers. I do. I guess I figure if I'm working hard enough to prepare the meal, then I want to still be able to enjoy it the next day, so I don't have to think all over again. So, so you can always keep that in mind too when you're purchasing.
Okay. I guess there's a little piece here. Sometimes, I don't know if you're cooking a fancy meal for someone you have over, I might trim this off just to
Okay.
make it a little more even, so then maybe if you're cutting it into medallions or something, which I'm going to do with this, it'll look a little nicer.
Okay,
But
they'll all
other
be
than
more
that-
uniform, right?
Other
Okay.
than that, those are done. And I'm just going to season it with a good amount of kosher salt and pepper. I'm going to put it in the pan with some olive oil
And let it
just
start cooking,
start
right?
to sear it. Yep. And these don't
Okay.
take that long. You want to cook it to about 140, 145 degrees.
Because I think in the past, pork has gotten a bad rap because
It did with the trichinosis.
Right.
And that's really not, you know,
it's not really a problem or
not
in the
anymore.
news anymore.
I mean, you could literally eat this medium rare and you're not going to get sick. I don't like to overcook pork
Because
at
it
all.
can get dried out,
Pork chops,
right?
pork
Yes.
loin, any pork, I really don't, unless you're doing a pork shoulder or something and you want to shred it for pulled pork, then you're going to really cook it.
But I know when I first started cooking and would cook pork, I would want to make sure that I got it done enough, so I would always overcook it. So I think that's why I hated pork for the longest time, because it never seemed to taste very good because I was overcooking it all the time.
And then what some people do is they'll bring this to, they'll use their thermometer. I would pull it out of the pan at around 130, 135 and let it rest.
Okay.
And it's going to continue to cook a little bit more, so you'll get that other 5 degrees, 10 degrees that you need.
And you want your pan hot before you add the olive oil, correct?
And I'm hoping that's hot enough.
Okay.
I didn't have it on there that long, but I'll turn this up a little. And I'm just going to do one of these today. I think that'll be enough for us.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we don't have to share, just you and I, right? So you're going to cook it fully rather than slicing it individually into the medallions first?
Yeah, I'm gonna sear it in there. You could do the medallions if you wanted to cook it a little quicker.
Okay.
But this kind of dish I'm doing today, I'm going to pull it off and then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients into the pan.
Okay.
Try to make a little sauce and wilt the kale down.
Okay. So we've got one pork tenderloin. Now, you're kind of like cooking it in a grill pan, but you could also grill it or bake it in the oven or put it under the broiler. There's a lot of different ways to use it, right?
You could do this dish I'm doing today. You could do the whole dish almost on a sheet pan.
Oh, sure.
Put everything in there. That's kind of the big thing now.
Right.
It's kind of nice because everything roasts together and you just put it in the oven and set your timer and you pull it out and it's done. So you could do that in a sheet pan also.
Okay, well, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more of the local dish and Bill Leisses from Beaver Dam.
And divisive, she tweets out nasty missives, and Groves Lloyd is extreme. She voted for a socialist, she calls our country terrorist. She ought to be embarrassed, and Groves Lloyd is extreme. Da-da-da-dum.
At a time when our community should be coming together, Lodi Alderwoman Ann Groves Lloyd is saying outrageous things to tear us apart, personally calling political opponents terrorists and cheering on others who called them Nazis and children of Satan, and said people who differed with her on tax policy should be damned to hell. We deserve better from our public officials. Call Alder Lloyd at 608-592-4527 and tell her you want civility and unity, not her brand of hate and division.
And Groves Lloyd is extreme.
Paid for by Jobs First Coalition, Inc.
You will definitely want to swing by Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly this week and check out the great buys you'll find throughout the store. We'll start off with certified Angus beef fresh ground chuck in the family pack, just $2.99 a pound. Oh, it's that time of the year, and are they ever tasty? Washington State Honeycrisp apples are 99 cents a pound. The 16-ounce package of Sugardale bacon is only $2.99. Get certified Angus beef boneless English cut chuck roast, just $2.99 a pound. How about California Dole iceberg lettuce, just 99 cents each? And Haas avocados make up some great guacamole tonight is only 88 cents each at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly throughout the store, including the bakery, the deli, the meat department, produce, and of course that fantastic liquor department. Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly on the beautiful east side of Beaver Dam.
American drivers overpay an average of $368 per year on their auto insurance. Why? Because, well, insurance is hard. It's complicated. It's time-consuming to get quotes from multiple companies, so we overpay. Or we call Richards Insurance in Beaver Dam. Make one call and receive quotes from all the best carriers. The folks at Richards Insurance literally do all the work for you. So if you could be saving money each month, you'll know about it. How much will you save with Richards Insurance? To find out, call Richards Insurance or stop in at 123 North Spring Street, downtown Beaver Dam. Also offices in Columbus, Watertown, West Bend, and Oshkosh. With over 50 employees and hundreds of years insurance experience across 5 offices, you'll get full service counseling with no obligation. Richards Insurance in Beaver Dam. Call 887-1615. That's 887-1615.
We'll be there with you.
Richards Insurance of Beaver Dam.
Why do patients choose Columbus Community Hospital's Prairie Ridge Center for Orthopedic Excellence for joint replacement surgery? Improved quality of life.
I had extreme knee pain because it was bone on bone. The surgery at Prairie Ridge was quick, it was efficient. Thanks to Prairie Ridge, I have no pain at all, and I've reclaimed my life.
Columbus Community Hospital and Prairie Ridge Health Clinic offers a 5-star, top-performing, high-quality...
And now it's time to go back and to Brenda Murphy and the Idea Exchange.
And thank you very much, John. We've got Bill Leisses here. He is cooking for us, and we're doing a delicious fall meal, pork tenderloin, that he is cooking in the skillet. We're going to add some bacon, some squash, and some kale. He's going to show us how to work with kale. But we're going to talk right now about squash, Bill, right? Okay.
So we get these from a local farmer at the Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly.
Okay.
So we have all these different varieties of squash. I brought, I think, 4 of them today. I'm going to...
Now, I just want to say, I know acorn squash, and is this butternut?
No, this is the butternut.
That's butternut. But those are the only 2, acorn, butternut, and spaghetti. Oh, is this spaghetti?
That's the spaghetti
squash.
squash.
And I usually buy bigger ones, but spaghetti,
they are, yeah.
But spaghetti squash, those are really the only 2 squash that I cook with, but you brought some other kinds as well.
I'm going to be using the butternut today. I also brought, it's called the delicata squash, kind of a creamy, sweet texture. I opened one up to show you because the seeds are really good to roast as, you know, like a pumpkin seed, same way. And there's quite a bit of seeds in these, but this is a nice little squash. And this is a buttercup squash.
Buttercup, okay.
It's called. Like we said, we have the spaghetti and the acorn. Spaghetti, well, kind of, you can cube them up or roast them, steam them. Put them in the oven, I guess, roast, like I said. But the spaghetti squash, you're not going to get this texture, the firmness, the cubes or the chunks. And I know we did this on one of the shows before. This, you know, you can substitute as in place of pasta, or you know, you roast it and you scrape it out. And that's a good.
And it comes out looking like spaghetti,
like noodles,
right?
Yeah,
or like noodles,
yeah,
or pasta,
or yeah.
right.
That's why they call it the spaghetti squash.
Okay, so then you've talked about some of the different textures and sweetness. Are there any of those particular squash that pair well with different kinds of meats or seafood or anything like that that you would recommend?
Don't know if I do my preference wouldn't be a seafood. Per se. I mean, squash is going to go well with beef. It's going to go really well with pork, with turkey, Thanksgiving.
Sure.
I mean, instead of a sweet potato, you could roast these and, you know, roast an acorn, roast a butternut, the buttercup, and treat it like a sweet potato as a side. Some brown sugar, butter would be good.
Now, as far as cutting into them, I know sometimes the outer shell or skin or whatever you want to call it can be pretty tough, pretty hard to get through that, or just do you poke holes and bake it whole in the oven, or what are some things there that we should know about?
I would cut it, if you're going to bake it in the oven, I would cut it in half like this.
Okay.
Scoop out the seeds. Put it face down on a baking sheet with just a little bit of water.
Okay.
And let it roast. The time's going to vary, obviously, on the size. This isn't going to take that long. Something like a butternut squash, and I cut this one in half to use it, but it was about up to here. That's going to take about probably an hour and a half in the oven.
Okay.
A butternut.
And those smaller ones would maybe be only 35
minutes or so.
And usually then can you tell just by sticking a fork in?
You can.
And if it's tender, then you know it's pretty well done?
Like a baked potato, where so you stick a fork in, it's tender, they're done. As far as a tip, I mean, for cutting through them, a nice sharp knife.
Okay, sure.
I don't know if this worked. I've never tried it, but you might be able to just microwave it for maybe.
Well, I
don't know.
I think
have you read that?
Well, I think on my show people have called in tips where, of course, if you're going to use it in the microwave, you have to poke holes in it first because you don't want it to
explode.
And you don't want it to explode in your oven either. But I think they've said if you poke holes in it, you put it in the microwave for just a couple of minutes, that will help soften it up a little bit so that then you can cut it through. Less chance of you ending up in the emergency room because you.
And some of these you can store longer than others. They say, I guess this one, the acorn, they say you can only store it for about 4 weeks.
Okay.
This, 4 or 6 months. The butternut squash, or maybe a year like mine. I don't know. But
and is the butternut the one that kind of has sort of the crooked a little bit of a curved neck, right? Okay.
Yeah. And it also has all of the seeds.
Are more in the
top
upper
of it.
part, right? Okay.
On the top of it.
And again, a good reminder that you don't need to just use pumpkin seeds. You can mix your pumpkin seeds with the squash seeds and make lots of great snacks with the different seeds together. You can bake them up and season them accordingly. We need to take another quick break, but we will be back with more of the local dish after these messages.
WS Ag Center in Columbus invites you to their Fall Festival Friday, October 26th. Live radio broadcast Friday morning, October 26th from 7 to 9 a.m. Lots of in-store specials all day long. Great bargains on all bird seed. Get up to $2 off bags of pet food. Visit with all the vendors that are displaying. WS Ag Center is located on Temkin Road, next to the vet clinic just outside Columbus. Remember the date of the Fall Festival, Friday, October 26th. WS Ag is your Kent feed dealer. And it's the place to stock up on your dog and cat food needs, bird seed, and of course hog feeds. Come one, come all to the Fall Festival, Friday, October 26th. It runs all day from 9 till 4. Enjoy your Christmas shopping with great bargains on lots of different items, including birdhouses, wind chimes, and so much more. WS Ag in Columbus, the place to be, Friday, October 26th from 9 a.m. till 4.
Get the best phones on the best network. For a limited time, get $300 off a new Android smartphone when you switch to Verizon and trade in an eligible device so you can get a new Google Pixel 2 or Samsung Galaxy S9. Stop by Wireless Zone of Beaver Dam, your local Verizon authorized retailer, to take advantage of this offer today. Device payment purchase and new line of service required. Less $300 trade-in promo credit applied to account over 24 months of in 1 to 2 billing cycles. Promo credit ends when balance paid or line terminated or transferred. 0% APR. Trade-in must be in good working and cosmetic condition.
Don't miss the Fleet Farm Truckload Savings Event this Friday through Sunday. We're passing big savings on to you with the best deals, like Remington 87-quart storage trunks on sale for $14.99. KT Wild Bird Food, 20-pound bags are 2 for $8. Valvoline Conventional Oil, 5 quarts are only $13.99. And save $100 on the Bandit 18-foot ladder stand for 3 days only. Truckload season is Fleet Farm season. Fleet Farm. built for real life.
Now back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And we are cooking up something really special. I know I have a head cold, but even I can smell the deliciousness of what's going on here for our local dish program today. We're with Bill Leisses from Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly. He is cooking a pork tenderloin in the skillet, and we've been talking different kinds of squash, the ways to trim that pork tenderloin. And now, Bill, you're going to choose kale today.
I like kale. That's why I chose it. Goes well with pork. Goes well with everything that I'm cooking: the bacon, the apples, the squash. It's also, they say, the most, not the most, but one of the most nutritious plant foods out there.
Okay.
And obviously it's more of a fall, winter
type of green, right.
And I love the taste of it. It's, like cabbage, really.
Okay. Does it have a little bit of a bitter taste to you? To me, it kind of does.
I think if you can eat it raw. If you were to eat it raw, maybe a little bitterness.
Okay.
I don't think so much when
But
it's
you
cooked.
mostly cook it, yeah. And I haven't really ever cooked it much. Just kind of added it in with my salads, and so it to me is kind of a little bit bitter. But you're going to wilt it for us, and then it goes in to complete the meal, right?
I'm just gonna kind of put it in at the end
very
with all
end.
the other ingredients. Mix it with all that, give it some flavor, and then just kind of set the pork tenderloin over it.
And do you chop up the whole works? Do you just use the leafy part? What do you do?
I just use the leaves. You could go down a little bit into the stem. I mean, that's fine too.
Okay.
You can eat that. I'll trim off the end, but
But
yeah, I'll cook it
so
that way.
mostly then you would just take like this.
Take the leaves.
Just the leaf, the top portion, and then just kind of finely chop, kind of like
like that,
bite-sized pieces. Okay. All right. Yeah, because that way then too, as it cooks down, it just sort of shrinks up slightly, not a lot, right?
And it's not like a spinach. If you were to put it in the pan, it would, disappear. This has a little bit more, texture to it. So,
Okay.
So I just want to cook it just a little.
And with the way you've got things that are going to be presented at the end, we've got the dark green and the orange from the squash, and then the browns and the meat. So that's going to plate out really, really nicely
I'm
too.
going to do a little red onion too, so there'll be a little red in there.
Okay.
It'll look like a nice little fall dish.
And sometimes we don't always think about that. You want to get a meal on the table, and so you aren't really thinking about how it's all going to look and how it's going to go together. But if you do take the time to do that, everybody will enjoy it a little bit more. And I think we're less apt to eat really fast. If we have something pretty to look at, it's just kind of, you can slow down a little bit. So now the pork tenderloin, about how long does that take in the pan? I'm not sure, did we talk time-wise?
I'm hoping 15 minutes.
Okay. So that it ties in with our schedule.
7-8 minutes aside.
Well, and during our break, we need to take a break and catch up on national news, local news, and sports, and weather will get in there too. So when we come back, the pork tenderloin should be finished, and then we will show you how to pull the rest of the things together to make this great fall.
News coming up in just a moment, followed by the local report with Craig Warmbold. And then, of course, the latest forecast from the Weather Eye Weather Center. And then we'll have part 3 of the Idea Exchange here on AM 1430 WBEV, streaming live on dailydodge.com. It's 10:30.
There have now been 10 devices described as pipe bombs sent to people who have been singled out for criticism by President Trump. Former Vice President Biden was the intended recipient of 2 suspicious packages found this morning at post offices in Delaware. Another in New York City was sent to actor Robert De Niro. ABC's Aaron Katursky tells us there's a real concern about one of the devices that made it through the mail system.
ABC News has learned the package sent to former CIA Director John Brennan at CNN traveled through the U.S. mail system. It arrived at the Radio City post office and was picked up per normal practice by a private courier who then hand-carried CNN's entire mail delivery. That's how the manila envelope with 6 American flag stamps wound up in CNN's screening and sorting room, where it was discovered by a worker. Authorities have been concerned with the idea that these pipe bomb-like devices could travel through the postal system undetected. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
In a tweet this morning, President Trump suggested the mainstream media is to blame for the anger in this country. Scott Goldberg, ABC News.
It is 10:31, time for a WBEV News update. Here's Craig Warmbold.
The 2019 Beaver Dam City budget unanimously advanced out of committee last night. The document totals $16.5 million and includes a tax levy of $10.5 million. An increase would be $9.95 per $1,000 of assessed value, a decrease of 14 cents. Equalized values are up in Beaver Dam by over 3%. The full council will vote on the 2019 budget on November 19th. If Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluin's 3-year downtown revitalization plan is ultimately approved as presented, it would cost the owner of a $100,000 home, on average, $10 per year for 11 years. That is according to City Finance Director John Summers, who says the $550,000 already approved for this year will result in that homeowner paying $5 next year. The mayor is now proposing that $250,000 be borrowed for the downtown in each of the next 2 years. Discussion on next year's borrowing plan is set for this Monday in committee. A judge has reduced the bond for a Beaver Dam man accused of providing the drugs that killed a Reeseville man. Jason Thompson is facing 1 felony count of first-degree reckless homicide in the death of James Hook. The 62-year-old was found dead of a heroin overdose 2 years ago. The 41-year-old initially had cash bond set at $50,000. That was reduced yesterday to $25,000. If convicted, Thompson faces up to 46 years in prison. A Beaver Dam man suspected of seriously injuring a pedestrian in a hit-and-run accident Monday night made his initial appearance in court yesterday. Colin Beal allegedly admitted to leaving the accident scene in the town of Oak Grove when he turned himself in Tuesday morning. Beal reportedly told investigators emergency lights and left. If convicted, the 41-year-old faces no more than 9 months in prison. The main chapel at Camp Vista in Fond du Lac County's town of Osceola destroyed by fire early yesterday morning. Campbellsport Fire responded after a passerby saw flames in a wooded area and called 911. The blaze destroyed the 50 by 80 foot building. No one was injured. The cause still being investigated. More than 9 fire departments assisted Campbellsport Fire at the scene. Camp Vista is a faith-based camp located near the Kettle Moraine State Forest. U.S. Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Assistance is advising any individual or business affected by this summer's severe weather and flooding should apply for help. The SBA Business Recovery Center opened earlier this week. Columbia, Dodge, Jefferson counties among those eligible. Businesses can borrow up to $2 million. Homeowners can borrow up to $200,000. Alliant Energy now offering rebates to homeowners and small businesses in Dodge County who are rebuilding after this summer's severe weather. Homeowners can receive double rebates for qualified heating and cooling upgrades completed by March 1st, as well as water heater rebates. Small businesses have the option to get double rebates for qualified energy efficiency projects completed by March 1st. They can also receive a free energy savings kit. In addition to Dodge County, Columbia, Fond du Lac, Green Lake, Jefferson, Sauk counties also eligible. We'll check sports right here in just a minute.
Hi, Scott Walker here. Nothing is more important than ensuring access to quality. The waiting list for children who need long-term care and expanded family care for our seniors. We covered everyone living in poverty for the first time ever. And Wisconsin is now ranked first in the nation for healthcare quality. But Obamacare premiums skyrocketed by 44% this year, and many families just can't afford to pay for their health care. Washington keeps promising to fix the problem, but it never happens. So we took action. Our bipartisan plan will lower premiums by 3.5%. My opponent wants to expand Medicaid to people with higher incomes. When other states did that, their premiums went up. We have a better way. Our plan lowers premiums, increases choices, and improves health care for everyone. Paid for by Friends of Scott Walker.
Award-winning news you can count on, AM 1430 WBEV.
In sports, only 5 NBA teams still have not lost a game, and the Milwaukee Bucks are one of them. Giannis Antetokounmpo's triple-double led the Bucks to a 123-108 home victory over Philadelphia on Wednesday. Antetokounmpo put up 32 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists to dominate the stat sheet. But Chris Middleton chipped in 25, Brook Lopez at 21. The Bucks fell behind early but rode a 49-point second quarter to their third victory in 3 games. Milwaukee plays at Minnesota tomorrow night. Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers cannot remember a more challenging stretch of games in his 10-year NFL career. 4 of the next 5 games will be on the road, and all of the undefeated Los Angeles Rams are coming up this weekend. Rodgers says he and the Packers will know where they stand when they return home in 6 weeks. 3 of the opponents, the Rams, Patriots, and Vikings, are defending division winners. I'm Craig Warrenbold with this check of news. You see news happen, call our tip line at 885-4442.
Here's a look at your weatherology forecast. High to low 50s this afternoon. Tonight, mainly cloudy, chance of seeing a few showers, low near 38. High at 50 on Friday. Lots of clouds, chance of rain. Friday night, cloudy. Slight chance of rain, low near 40. High at 51 on Saturday. Mainly cloudy, Saturday night, cloudy. Chance of showers, low near 41. Chance of more rain on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Laura Lockwood on your hometown station, AM 1430 WBEV. Right now, 44.
And right now it's time to go back to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
And we are doing the local dish here with Bill Leisses from Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly. Notice anything different about us? We have our Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly aprons on, and I forgot to mention we're going to give you a chance to win one of those as well. All you need to do is call in tomorrow and next week with your favorite fall comfort food. What's the first thing that you like to make when fall hits and the leaves start changing and it gets a little bit cooler? I would say I have 2 things. The first one is pumpkin bars, my mom's pumpkin bar recipe. I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't like any other things pumpkin, but I love pumpkin bars, probably because of the cream cheese frosting, I'm not sure. But anyway, that texture I like. And I would say chili, because my family, whenever we went out trick-or-treating, I would mix up a big pot of chili right before I took them out trick-or-treating, so that when we got back, we'd have chili that we could eat, and the dinner was all ready for us. So you send in, either call on the program or email me, ideaexchange@goodkarmabrands.com, your favorite fall food that you like to make. Maybe it's something with apples or squash or just cinnamon, whatever it is. We'll put everybody into a drawing, and someone will get to win the apron for this month. So where are we at, Bill?
I just took the pork tenderloin out of the pan to rest, and I'm going to add start to add the rest of the ingredients to the saute pan to make a little bit of sauce and some squash and apples to go with the kale.
And to cook that in with the flavor from the meat,
from
right?
the meat, yeah.
Okay.
So I left still the oil and some of the
and the drippings
the
in there. You
drippings
don't
from
have to clean out the pan,
No,
right?
no.
So you have diced up bacon, right?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Bacon.
And about, how many is that? Like
This,
a
this,
cup?
2
cups?
It's like 5 slices.
Okay, 5 slices of
5
bacon.
slices.
All right.
I'm just going to...
And that you want to get nice and brown and crispy?
I'm going to, get this, crisp this up a little bit. Let that crisp. I've diced a Granny Smith apple. I've julienned chopped some sage and some rosemary. And I'll just kind of add that at the end.
And by using the fresh herbs, do we get a much better flavor, or can you substitute dried herbs and it's the same?
You could substitute dried. I like to use fresh herbs for this because it's not a long cooking time.
Oh, okay.
So the herbs will stay nice and fresh. You'll still get the flavor. If you were to use like a dried rosemary or sage, you can let that cook longer, and it'll still impart the flavor. But I always prefer fresh herbs if I can use them.
Okay, right.
If I can.
Right.
You could, like with this particular dish, you're talking about the sage. You could do some dried sage and rosemary
When
on
you
there
were
with salt
cooking
and
the
pepper.
when you were cooking the meat.
Coat it.
Okay, coat it with
coat
that.
the tenderloin
Okay.
and cook it that way.
That way you'd still be able to infuse those same flavors.
So same flavors.
Just in a different way.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll start to, if I have room here to do the kale or not.
Need a little bit bigger cutting board,
Yeah,
right?
I got that one dirty with the pork. Should have used that one.
So again, with the kale, you're just going to kind of cut that into coarse leaves so that it will wilt up, and that should only take a few minutes as well, right?
That will. This will be one of the last things I add to the pan. I can keep everything separated here, so when I'm ready to put it in.
That pork
It is
tenderloin
a-
is looking
it is a
very
small.
delicious. And that only took a little more, around 15 minutes in the skillet. So again, a pretty quick and easy meal that you can put together. While you were doing that, I do want to remind everybody that if you go to Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly, you can get all of your baking needs. The holidays, as I mentioned, Christmas Day is only 60 days away. So maybe you like to prep and make your lists and know what you're going to need as far as baking items. You can stock up now with the flour, the sugar, the brown sugar, butter. Butter you can put in the freezer until you're ready to use it. So when you see the specials and you see the shelves stocked at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly with all of those baking and cooking items, you can get that and purchase that now. Another thing that I think a lot of us forget to do is check that spice cabinet, because if your spices are older than about a year, spices and seasonings will last about a year to 18 months. That's their shelf life. And so if yours are older than that, then you want to get new and have that on hand for your baking and cooking season for the holidays as well, so that everything is fresh and you get the best flavor. You can also use Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly's deli department for cheese trays, veggie trays, for Thanksgiving dinner if you'd like, and you can just pick up everything that you need. So either stop by the deli and bakery department or give them a call. You can ask them questions and they'll be able to help you out with whatever your holiday cooking and baking needs are. So you have added the squash, the apple, the onion, and the seasonings, right?
And the herbs and, and a little bit of more salt and pepper.
Okay, and to the pan, and we're just going to cook that up for another couple minutes until everything gets heated through and brown just a little, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I did par cook the squash, so you don't want to just put.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could put the raw squash on there. It's just going to take a lot longer to cook. I par cooked it. I diced it up and put it in the microwave for 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
Or so.
Well, we need to take a break, and when we come back, we'll probably be able to get everything plated here to show you how great this meal is and how easy it is. We'll be back after this.
Hey Mom, hey Dad, caregivers, everyone. I have something important to tell you. You are your child's #1 brain builder. You see, a baby's brain starts learning right at birth. By kindergarten, 90% of the brain development has already happened. This means you are the single most important person in helping your child's brain grow. You are your child's #1 brain builder. Visit talkreadplaywi.com. Download the free app and start brain building today.
Integrity Floors huge Dodge County and the surrounding areas. Integrity Floors offers a special store-wide sale event through the end of October. Start shopping now and receive 10% off all quality floor coverings for your home from popular brands like Mohawk, Maddington, and Shaw. Integrity Floors, located 1 block south of the American on Seiple Boulevard in Beaver Dam.
For long or short-term rehab after surgery, brain injury rehabilitation, and lots more, Clearview is the clear choice. What makes Clearview so special? It all starts with the staff.
Hi, my name is Peggy, and I am starting my 16th year at Clearview. When I hear people complain about their jobs or dread going to work, I realize how very lucky I have been with my career choice at Clearview.
Clearview, just outside Juneau, where patients enter as strangers but leave as friends.
She's mean and she's offensive. She's profane and divisive. She tweets out nasty misses, and Groves Lloyd is extreme. She voted for a socialist. She calls our country terrorist. She ought to be embarrassed, and Groves Lloyd is extreme. Da-da-da-dum.
At a time when our community should be coming together, Lodi Alderwoman Ann Groves Lloyd is saying outrageous things to tear us apart, personally calling political opponents terrorists and cheering on others who called them Nazis and children of Satan, and said people who differed with her on tax policy should be damned to hell. We deserve better from our public officials. Call Alder Lloyd at 608-592-4527 and tell her you want civility and unity, not her brand of...
Lloyd is extreme.
Paid for by Jobs First Coalition, Inc.
Hi, Scott Walker here. Nothing is more important than ensuring access to quality and affordable health care for our families and seniors. That's why we eliminated the waiting list for children who need long-term care and expanded family care for our seniors. We covered everyone living in poverty for the first time ever. And Wisconsin is now ranked first in the nation for healthcare quality. But Obamacare premiums skyrocketed by 44% this year, and many families just can't afford to pay for their health care. Washington keeps promising to fix the problem, but it never happens. So we took action. Our bipartisan plan will lower premiums by 3.5%. My opponent wants to expand Medicaid to people with higher incomes. When other states did that, their premiums went up. We have a better way. Our plan lowers premiums, increases choices, and improves health care for everyone. Paid for by Friends of Scott Walker.
Every week it lies just over the horizon, beckoning you with all the freedoms of the weekend. It's that dazzling neon gem, Friday night. We paid our dues all week long, now it's our turn. The Capri Steakhouse, downtown Columbus, has been the beacon of evening delights for over 60 years. Whether you prefer your evening served alongside prime rib and a whiskey sour, or Atlantic salmon paired with Pinot Noir, the Capri Steakhouse has the right garnish for every social occasion. The Capri Steakhouse, located in beautiful downtown Columbus, serving your tradition.
Now at Menards, save victim storage with Dakota pre-finished shelving. 15 1/4 inch deep by 6 foot long bullnose shelving in white or wheat oak is $8 after sale price and 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through October 27th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
And now we return to Brenda and the Idea Exchange.
Thank you very much, John. Well, we are working on this delicious meal. Bill has added the kale to the skillet, but we do need to let that wilt down. What else did you put in there, Bill?
I put about a tablespoon of brown sugar in there and a little bit of chicken stock. The brown sugar just to sweeten it up a little bit, and then the chicken stock to deglaze the pan a little bit, get some of those flavors.
Sure.
And also to make a little bit of a, I don't know, almost a dressing or for the kale.
Okay. Well, while that cooks down, I am going to switch back since I didn't get to finish my book holiday gift giving ideas. I want to talk to you just about Christmas gifts. These are some books that I have previewed in the past. Some are with authors I have done, some are just my own personal favorites. Now, I interviewed Jeff Quinn a few years back with a Wild Wild West book. That's more or less his genre. But he took a different turn a number of years ago and wrote the autobiography of Santa Claus. So it's written from Santa's perspective, and based on of history, but you hear it from the voice of Santa Claus. So if you weren't a believer before, by the end of this book, you will truly believe in Santa Claus. So that's a great one. And this was the book that Santa Claus autographed for me the year that I got it. It says, "Always believe Santa Claus." So you can personalize books like I told you about as well. This is a book that I did not do the interview, but my daughter gave this to me a number of years ago because she knew that I was doing author interviews. The 12 Days of Christmas in Wisconsin by Aaron Eider Kono is another favorite family book. I like to give this to new parents or to friends or family who grew up in Wisconsin but then moved away. The book covers everything Wisconsin, from the state bird, the robin, to Wisconsin Dells ducks, to cheese curds, the badgers, the whooping cranes, and so much more. And it's a countdown of the 12 days of Christmas, adding each one in. And then with each page and each item, there's a little bit of a story about the 10 badgers snoozing and how we got the nickname the Badgers and so on. So again, very finely illustrated and a fun book. This book I did just a couple of years ago. If you ever dreamed of ice cold refreshing beer but you come home to beer that's warm, there are 14 different beer hacks in here, just showing you how you can get cold beer pretty quickly. Also different hacks for how to open a bottle of beer if you don't have a bottle. Chill your beer quickly, how to use it for cleaning. This is a great book for any beer lover. If you want to impress friends, if you are a craft beer connoisseur, lots of ideas in there. So I have a number of people on my giving list that are probably going to get this book as a Christmas gift.
I'll need one.
Will you need one
Yes,
of those?
yeah.
Okay. This one, maybe you call them old fashions. 63% of the people do. Maybe you call them an old fashioned. 36% of the population does that, but whatever you call this cocktail, you'll find them at supper clubs. And I think Wisconsin is unique in that we have different supper clubs throughout the state. Ron Fiola put this book together. First he did a documentary, so he did a movie first and then he wrote a book about it. The photographs are just stunning from each of the different supper clubs that he highlighted. He talks about each one of them. I gave this to my brother a couple of years ago. He and his wife like to take their Harleys and go out riding. They go to various supper clubs and they take this book with them. When they stop that one that's featured in the book, they get the autograph of the cook or their wait staff or whatever, and then they write a little bit on the side pages so that they kind of have their own diary or documentary. So a great book for anybody who loves old fashions or who loves Wisconsin supper clubs. This book is An Invisible Thread Christmas Story. Tells the story of a young boy that she met in New York. That was from the Invisible Thread, the book that I had originally interviewed. So it just talks again about kindness and what we can do to make the season not about giving, but about receiving. Or not about receiving, but about giving. And then this book, if you want to make Christmas more meaningful, Cheryl Kirking lives down in the Janesville area. She's written a number of different books. This has a padded cover with gold foil. It comes with a CD of the music that the book is about. Her daughter recorded the music, and it's just so beautifully illustrated as well. It's What Can I Give Jesus, and it's a timeless message, sensitive illustrations, and the pure voice of a mother and daughter on the CD. So those would be my holiday picks. And yesterday, I talked with Jan Karen. She is the author of the New York Times bestselling Mitford series. She's done 14 books about Mitford and Father Tim Kavanaugh. And this is kind of encapsulating all of the inspirational stories, the prayers, the sermons and things. If you know of someone who is a lover of all things Mitford, Father Tim Kavanaugh and the fictional town of Mitford are going away just to be forever enshrined in everybody's memories. but this kind of captures all of those stories in one little book. So that is another gift-giving idea that you can take a look at. And oh my gosh,
We're
you've
done.
got it all done.
Yeah,
It looks
done.
beautiful, wilted nice and easily within what, about 4 or 5 minutes or
4 or 5 minutes.
We've got the butternut squash you
Butternut.
used, right? Okay.
Butternut squash.
And again, Bill said that he like par cooked that ahead of time so that then he could just put it in the skillet. It was partially cooked, so it made this go a lot quicker. A little bit of red onion, one Granny Smith apple, right?
One Granny Smith.
A little bit of chicken stock, some brown sugar to just sweeten it up a little bit, and then that pork tenderloin, and then you used sage and rosemary,
Sage
right?
and rosemary.
Fresh sage and fresh rosemary. So it looks delicious. It smells fantastic. And again, it's very, very easy. You'll be able to go back onto our video page at dailydodge.com if you want to catch some of Bill's tips about the squash or about trimming the pork tenderloin, or just checking out any of the gift-giving favorites that I have shared with you today. Oh, and one other thing, if you are looking for a job, Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly is hiring. You can stop by and maybe get a chance to work with Bill, right? How about that for a lot of fun? Or there's lots of different areas in Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly that you could apply for. So check it out and either give them a call or stop by. Don't forget about the deli department, the baker department for all of your holiday needs. And that is going to wrap it up for us today, Bill. We'll be back the Thursday before Thanksgiving with some Thanksgiving ideas for you. So John, we'll send it back to you.
Surprises to deal with. So we thought